What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Who's that? Cam. Guess what? Today, guys, we are gonna put the dash in the truck. Now, look, I don't have all the pieces painted, right? And I don't have all the pieces to do it, but I'm sick of it sitting on the top of my truck over there. And so we're gonna get it done today. We're gonna knock this out, or we're gonna try to anyway. Heck, we may get halfway through it and I don't know, we'll see what happens. But ultimately, guys, look, the cheaper trucks or the work trucks, you can always tell them by their lighter color interior. They might have the dark colored seats, but they're always gonna have the lighter colored dash. Now, they did make a model, like the higher end model, had the darker dash. I actually have been wanting to replace this dash ever since I got this truck, mainly because there's cracks in it. The color doesn't necessarily look that bad in my opinion, but I found a dash with no cracks, and it's the dark color. And so today we're gonna see if we can get that installed. So look, we're gonna have to take a lot of stuff out of place. We're gonna have to take the lower panels. This lower panel right here, I do not have. I do have a dark centerpiece, but it's got some holes in it. And I also have a glove box. I don't know where we're gonna go with that. I got the upper and lower. That glove box latch is broken, and I want to paint some stuff on it, but we'll just kind of see where we get. So anyway, we're going to start with taking these guys off, right? And I'm going to put this stuff in the bed because for the most part, guys, this dash, we're going to toss. We don't really need it once we get it out of the place. I don't want any more stuff sitting in here, and it's broke anyway. So let's start with getting those panels off the side. And then once we get those panels off the side, we're going to work on getting the lower panels off first, probably starting under the steering wheel and then working our way this way. And then we will talk about what our next step is as far as going into getting the actual panel itself out. So starting under the dash, you guys, I feel like you've seen me do this 100 times. There's a Phillips, there's a 10 millimeter behind this guy. Now this, like I said, is the panel that we're going to have to paint at some point. I don't have, and we may just leave it off. I don't know, we'll see. But let's get these out, and then the rest of it just clips. Now, once we have that off, like I said, it just clips. We need to move over to this guy. Now, we need to pull this off before we can get to the center one. And guys, generally how this works is I think you push this, you're gonna have to push it past this section right here. There we go. So you push that little tab right there, you see that? We need to push that back. Now, in order to get the glove box off, you should have, I don't know if you guys can see those 7 millimeters. 1, 2, 3, golly, there's 5 of those suckers in there. So we'll get that off next. I'm also gonna go ahead and hit that 6th one there. Next, we're moving to this center piece, and I'm pretty sure that it clips on this side. We're gonna have to test it, but there's a Phillips back there, but there's 2 7s there on this side. So we'll get those 2 7s out and the Phillips that goes behind the ashtray. If you just pull straight down, you'll be able to get the ashtray out. Well, so you guys know, you do not have to take, I looked at the other piece that I have, the replacement piece, and you do not have to take those 2 Phillips out, just the 7 millimeters on that side. And then this guy has clips on it. So you may have to get a little creative getting your panel tool behind here. See, I've got mine in there, and then we're just going to try to pull straight out on both sides and release those clips. We got that off. You can see what I'm talking about. There's clips that clip in all the way across the top, and then 2 along the bottom. It's pretty snug. So just take your time if you're trying to save it, not break it, obviously. All right, we need to get this open. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put a flat blade screwdriver up underneath to release this in order to get this out, because this is a very common breaking point on these guys. If you've ever had one of these in the past, chances are if you have a used one, it's broken. It was kind of a cheesy glove box option, but let's get this open. Once we get it open, I'll show you the screws that we need to take out. Once you get it open, you can see we have 2 Torx up here on the top on either side. Now these are T10s, so we need to get those out, and then the glove box does have some clips similar to these down here. We can pull it out of the way. Wanted to show you what it looked like once we got it out. Those are the 2 Torx that we took out, and then you can see the clips surrounding the outside. All right, so now look, we're gonna have to get the radio and surround and whatnot out, which honestly, guys, it's easier when you have this out of place, the bottom panel, so you can just pop this guy off. Now you're gonna have some stuff plugged in. You're gonna work your way around the steering wheel here. There we go. You're gonna have the plug-ins right here for your cigarette lighter adapter, and then I don't know what that other plug's for. Probably traction control on a vehicle that's equipped. So we'll get this unplugged and set aside, and then the next thing I think I want to do is take the upper dash panel, so the one closest to the windshield, out. So this top piece we need to get off because there's screws under it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to get started. Okay, and we're going to work our way all the way across, because this is all this is clips. Okay, so I'm going to give that to him, and he's going to work his way pushing that up. Once we push it up, there's a set of clips on the front side as well. You'll be able to just do it by hand. There we go. Go ahead and pull. You're not gonna hurt anything. We're putting this one in the trash. All right, and then same thing on the front. There's on the leading edge. I don't think we're gonna have to, well, I may be lying to you guys. We may have to take our pillars out in order to make that happen. We're definitely gonna have to do it to put them back in place, because the pillar is setting in it, but I can probably sneak this one out without doing that. Dadgummit. Oh well, we'll take them out. It's not that big a deal. So in order to take these out, there's 2 screws behind this little panel that we will take loose, and then these are just clipped in as well. 10mm to get this and this out once you remove the covers. Now you can see why. See that little channel that it sets in? So we're gonna have to do the same thing on the other side. I bet it's a 10mm. Pick that little deal out. Probably a 10. Is it? Let's see. Yeah. Okay. He'll get that 10mm out. Of course, guys, you have to unplug the speaker, and then we'll be able to get this piece completely popped out. Once he got that loose, the only plug you're going to have to worry about here is your daytime, well, it's actually your light sensor. So you do have to unplug that guy. So just reach in there and unplug that, and then we can get this thing completely out of the way. Okay, now that we got that out, we can move on to the radio and the HVAC stuff. So the HVAC, as you can see, we're going to have to pull it out and unplug it, but 7mm to get the radio out and 7mm to get the HVAC out. Got the radio out and unplugged. Moving on to this upper piece. All right, so the cap that covers the instrument cluster. We're gonna take it out. We're gonna take the instrument cluster out too, but there's a couple T10s up top there. If you guys remember when I put this instrument cluster in, I struggled because I didn't know those were there. So we need to get those 2 coming in from the top. You can see that one and that one. And then it's clipped, and we'll be able to pull that out of place. And once that's out of place, then we can pop this loose and unplug all of our stuff over here. You can see we got both those panels out. Now we're gonna get these 7mm that hold our cluster in place. And we got 2 up top here, and then there's 2 that are real sneaky down here. But you gotta have that panel out of place first. So once we move that panel, then we'll be able to reach in there and get those 7mm that you see on the bottom. And I believe there's 2 more. Oh yeah, see them up there? One right back there and one in this corner to get the whole panel out of place. You can see what I'm talking about. Once the bezel is out, then we can reach in here and get the 7s for this guy, because it does have to be out of the way. And there's a plug back here on the top. Once we get it out, just pinch, unplug. Now we've got a majority of what we're gonna need out of the way, right? We're gonna have to fish our wiring harness possibly through a little bit. This panel, how this dash works, guys, is it's kind of set over a skeleton. It's kind of the skeleton underneath it that it sets on top of. So we're not gonna have to get deep into the dash, but we are gonna now have to start taking our 7mm out. So you can see the 2 7s there. We also have a 7 here and a 7 here. We'll have that same thing on the other side. And so you're gonna follow, see these in the, there's one there. We're gonna work, oh, there's one there, that's cracked. Oh, that's bad. One here, and we're just gonna work our way through. Now, also at the top, I don't know if you can see this through the windshield, but we'll also have some that run up top here. Oh, there we go. See that 10 millimeter right there? There's a set of screws all the way along the top. I think it'll be easier for me to show you those on the new piece, which I'll show you once we get these 7s out. It's a little easier to see now. These are 10 millimeters. But guys, we're gonna have to use our tool to release the wiring in order to get this out of place, because it's routed kind of through the dash. Same way on the other side. Now those are plugs, but let's pull these out. These are those push-in style Christmas tree clips. So we'll use our clip removal tool to loosen those up and then get these 10 millimeters out. But I think we've got them all along the dash. Got that stuff unclipped, but there's 2 7s randomly right here. So we're gonna take those out also. We got the 4 10s across the top. Everything's unplugged, including this oddball. I don't even know what this is. It looks like a radio connection. I know this is our antenna, right, for the outside, but try to take note, right, of where the wire comes up. We know that it goes over on each side, but keep note of where it goes up. So on the other side of that brace right there, it comes up. On this side of this brace, it comes up. Remember that, because we need to put it back in place. All right, so now this right here is your airbag cover. This guy actually unclips. It's just a piece of freaking rubber, and we've got to get this out in order to get to the next part. Now I may end up breaking this. Oh, didn't get it off there. To get it out, but there's 2 7 millimeters. I'll get the light here, you can see them. See those 7s right there? Guys, we have to have those out in order to finish this being completely loose. They're part of the dash and they're riveted. So if you do not get them out, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna break stuff. But I'm gonna see if I can reach in there on the back side and unhook it like we did right here. You see those series of hooks? That's all that holds that guy in place. I was able to get the 7s out, guys, but we're gonna unhook the battery. Probably should have done that to begin with. That should probably be step 1. Just for safety reasons, give it 10 minutes, let this capacitor go dead on the airbag. And what I think I'm gonna do, I can't reach back there and get those unclipped like I did in the front, these little hooks. And so I'm gonna unhook the airbag. I'm probably gonna take these 10 millimeters out that hold the airbag in place, move it forward enough where I can reach in there and unclip that and get this guy out of place. Once we got the battery unhooked, given it about 10 minutes, I took the 4 10 millimeters. So here, 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 and here. And what that does is it allows the airbag to fold backwards and lift up, and then you can get the back ledge off to get this thing off. So, guys, I'm pretty sure we're loose, right? So we're obviously gonna have to do some lifting to get it out of place. We're gonna have to clear the steering wheel. As a matter of fact, what I may do is have him put the key in and drop that thing down into first gear. We'll set the e-brake and so it doesn't go anywhere. But then that'll give us the ability to yank this guy out. Remember, like I said, the routing of your wiring. Couple things that I'm thinking here that held us up. We got it out, as you can see, but we forgot to take, for one, there's a 7 millimeter that was in the top of this basket, the radio basket. This obviously you can see zip tied. We could have cut the zip tie and brought this all as one piece, but I took that 7 out and then it released from the dash. So look, we've got all our wires out. We were able to sneak it out, kind of went towards his way. The only issues I see, guys, is we were really close, like here on the turn signal stock. I honestly, for a minute, thought we were gonna have to take the wheel off or at least drop the wheel down. It probably would be easier without that, but you can kind of sneak it in between the mirror here and that. So it's out. We're gonna go grab the other and see if we can get it in. Now, remember, like I said, you need to make sure that our wiring, so this guy, you can kind of sneak through and get that after we got it, kind of get it set in place. So that's not a huge deal, but just make sure that, you know, you're getting those wires and not losing them behind the dash. So just taking our time, got this one set in. It actually, I think this one went in easier than the other one came out. So he's gonna clean on it a little bit. I don't know why, because it's moving around, but okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start with the 10 millimeters up top. We've got it lined up, right? We've got our wires pulled through in the same area they were pulled through before. Got the headlight sensor, got those two plugs over there that were pulled through. So now I'm going to start the 10 millimeters all the way across and the 7 millimeters. Remember the two little 7s in the middle? That's where I'm going to start. Once I get those in place, then I'm going to get I think I'm going to put my airbag cover in next. I've just got this 110 holding it. I'll get the airbag cover over the airbag, and then we will set it back down into place. But before I do that, remember, let's put these 7s in first. So the 7s actually hold the bracket. It does not hold the airbag. Okay, so put the 7s in before you go back together. Got those 10 millimeters tight, the two 7s in the middle, and then the 2 that go in the airbag. Remember what I said? The rest of this, guys, we're just lining up the 7s that we took out. Remember all those 7 millimeters that we took out of this entire dash? We were over our spots here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plug in our plugs. I'm going to get the airbag lifted up, hook that guy up, and set it back down into place. Get the 10 millimeters tightened up for it. So really it's like a reverse process of what we took apart. Got all the wires hooked back up, and you can see that we've got this piece. It does have a couple nicks in it, but that's okay. Looks a lot better. Got that in. Now we need to put our 10 millimeters back in and get them snugged up. Now I've kind of jumped ahead. As you can see, we got a lot of stuff bolted down. I went ahead and got all the 7 millimeters. They're in. He's been cleaning. I didn't clean this upper piece when I originally did all this stuff, guys. So you can see I've got this back in, the cluster back in, just the 4 10 millimeters. But this is a step that I do want to show you, because this little piece right here has to go under the dash back here, okay? If you don't get it lined up like that, it's not going to fit right. So make sure that that's going in. Snap that thing in, and then get your Torx that come up from the bottom. The other thing is, you'll notice it's very, very close here. If you want to wait and put this on after you put the radio in, you can do that as well. Now he's finishing up, just vacuuming and cleaning it, but guys, we got it all back together. Everything fits great. No more cracks in the dash, at least for a week. You know how these things crack. It could crack in a month. You know, I reinforced those areas. I think I showed you guys in a video a while back, the area on the corner of the airbag cover. I reinforced that with some epoxy on the bottom side. I also did a couple areas here where they're prone to crack. So maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, who knows? You know, when it sets out in the sun, sometimes that happens. But the front windshield in this thing is tinted. You'll also notice that we did not put this, obviously I don't have another panel that's black. This doesn't look terrible, but it looks kind of goofy when you look across. You know, now the other thing I did is I kept this part. This one, you can't see it, but it's got a couple holes drilled in it. So what I would ultimately like to do is I'd like to paint this at the same time. I didn't want to put this in yet, but I went ahead and did it. I want to paint these, the handle, that, because they're rubbed off, the ones on the door that are rubbed, and I'm talking about these guys right here. And then you guys remember that I forgot to get the other piece when I was out there getting all these parts. If I go back out there, I'm sure it's still laying there. I may get it, but ultimately these are all one piece. So I'd like to paint everything dark to match this. And so that's the next thing I need to do. I've also got these pieces that I need to paint. They're the light gray. But all in all, not a hard project, honestly. 2 people helps just to get the thing out, to be honest. Could you do it with 1 person? Maybe. But it's gonna take a little bit more, because like I said, we kind of pushed it out that way. I should have probably set it up on the tripod, but actually I think, like I said earlier, this one went in easier than the other one came out. And I think part of that is because it was broken in so many places that it was like moving different directions. It seems like when it's all solid, you don't have any trouble, but man, we have came a long way on the interior of this truck. There's still a couple things I'd like to do. We need to get, I think I actually have some of these, but the covers that cover this, we need to get those. I'd like to eventually do a steering wheel control. Now we hooked up the radio to have steering wheel radio controls. I would like to get a new steering wheel. This one's all beat up. Maybe a leather wrapped one. This one's not leather wrapped. But we can get that as all one unit, and it'll just be plug and play. And then of course, like painting the other stuff. But like I said, not too bad. hopefully if you guys ever have to do this, this helps you out. There's just about 507 millimeters. We ended up with 2 extras. Now, it's not because we didn't put all of them back in. It's because the radio basket was actually hooked. This guy here was hooked to the dash. So we had a couple extras that were holding it to, I thought I had to take it out and leave it in the truck. So that's why we had a couple extras. But all in all, like I said, a pretty easy project. So if you guys did enjoy this video, go down and smash that thumbs up button. What else do they need to do, Cam? Subscribe. Stay tuned to see what we work on next.